How's it going, my fellow gears? Today I've got another Horde class guide, and this time we are going to make plenty of innuendos by looking at how to jack. Like the rest of these Horde guide videos that I've made, this one will be no different, and we'll finally look at everyone's favourite robotic sidekick in Gears 5. We're going to take a look at Jack's loadout, the cards and perks this class has, and then rounding out the video with some build ideas. If you look in the top right of this video, I have also put a link to a playlist that covers the other classes, so make sure to check that out. And if you find these guides helpful or interesting, I don't normally ask so early on in the videos, but subscribing to the channel really helps me out, as I am trying to push 500 subscribers before the end of the year, but I would ultimately love to hit that 1000 subscriber milestone. Plus, you get to see when my next videos go live, and I've got some new ideas lined up now that I'm almost done with these Horde class guides. Do remember, these are aimed at players a little bit newer to Gears, so if you are a hardcore fan of the series, please have a little bit of patience. Now, onto our binary hero. Jack is a one-of-a-kind class, being the only class still attached to a specific character, being able to fly and cloak when in Horde. You are going to be playing more of a support role as Jack, keeping your teammates alive and healthy, helping with repairs and generating energy. But you do have the chance to go berserk and turn a single enemy against their own. Jack doesn't come with a typical loadout since he can't hold weapons. He does come with a taser and a healing beam. The taser is going to deal minor damage to a single enemy, but is used more for crowd control, since the enemy you'll be targeting will be stunned in place. Jack's healing beam can be used on teammates and fortifications to heal, revive and repair. There are a few cards which can also modify this in a few ways, but more on skill cards slightly later. Jack is able to pick up weapons and ammo boxes off the floor, able to move these around, dropping them close to teammates that need them, or putting them on weapons lockers, or forging them for energy. Whenever you pick anything up as Jack, you will lose the cloaking passive you have. This cloak will last indefinitely unless you are performing some other action as Jack. And you will also decloak if you get too close to enemies, so do be careful as Jack is a little bit more fragile than most other classes. You're best off staying in the back lines, healing and reviving teammates, only going out to pick up energy and weapons if it's safe to do so. Jack still has the ability to roadie run and roll, though it's more of a booster for obvious reasons, and you can even get slightly out of bounds unlike regular human characters. This class does have an ultimate ability like all other classes called Hijack. This allows you to take control of a single enemy unit, except for bosses and mini-bosses. You can use the weapon the class has equipped and turn them against their own side. This hijack will last for different amounts of time, depending on the enemy you have taken over. Here is a full list of enemy units you can use hijack on, and the durations for those enemies. I've grouped a lot of these enemies together just simply to save space because there are now so many different enemy factions we can fight. As you can see, hijack will last for 20 to 35 seconds depending on the enemy you are using it on, but this will always have a 5-minute cooldown regardless of which enemy you take over. My personal preferences for enemies that I look to hijack are Mulcher and Boomshot Scions, Elite Swarm Drones, Locust Cyclops, Locust Drone, but try a bunch of different enemy types out and see what you prefer. Finally, onto Jack's passive ability. Remember the taser that I mentioned earlier? Any enemy you target with this will take an extra 50% damage from your teammates, which is effective against everything, but more specifically bigger targets like bosses. I'm not sure how this interacts with the Tactician's Cooperation skill card. You know, the one that has teammates deal more damage to marked targets as well. So if anyone knows how this actually works, leave it in a comment down below for your fellow gear. Okay, for being such a small robot, Jack has had the longest introduction out of all the classes. With that done, we can start to look at the skill cards this class has. First, you need to make some levels though. Just gonna throw up a table on screen for you now that contains the different amounts of EXP you need to reach each level. And these values are the same for all classes. Jack doesn't have many skill cards, 13 in total, but I will break down each card and the best way to use these. Let's start out with score boost. All classes in Gears 5 start out with this. It doesn't do anything when you first start out. Skip or equip it for now, it's your choice. Healing Reach is your first useful card. This just increases the distance that you can heal teammates only. Very useful to keep you in cover, but you do need to maintain line of sight with your target. At level 3 you unlock an extra card slot and the Zapper upgrade card. Your taser gains increased damage with this card, which is okay, but you're never going to get to the top of the damage tables with this thing. The more damage you deal, the faster you can hijack your next enemy, but this is just a small upgrade. Optimizer is Jack's next skill card. This is where this class is kinda busted. Any weapons you forge as Jack will give even more energy. A level 4 forge with a decently high level optimizer card can give so much energy that your team can forego energy taps if they choose. So if you have a Jack on your team with this card equipped, try to get a forge maxed out by wave 20 at the very latest to make the most out of this. Otherwise, picking up weapons and dropping them next to the forge for Jack to dismantle is also really helpful. What is this forge we speak of though? It is the most expensive fortification in Gears 5, costing up to 40,000 energy without taking mutators into account, and is used to dismantle most weapons into energy, but not all weapons are created equal, and some cannot be forged at all. I'm gonna cut away from the cards just for a second and show this full list of weapons that can be dismantled into the forge. Here are all the base energy values that each weapon gives at each level of forge. This energy value is per teammate, so the more teammates you have, the more energy you get essentially. Explosive weapons give the most energy, after that heavy weapons and the breaker mace, then everything else gives the same amount. Try to prioritize the more rewarding weapons, unless you have teammates that need them as spares. Pause the video here if you want to carry on looking through this list, if not we'll cut back to the skill cards. Unlocking our third card slot as Jack also gives us portable resupply. This card's flavour text doesn't sound interesting at all, simply regenerating some ammo for weapons you are carrying. But what the card doesn't mention is that picking up weapons and ammo no longer cancels your cloaking ability, which is really helpful, especially when trying to forge as much as you can. Consider this when going down that route. Healing upgrade is next and is the last green skill card to unlock as Jack. This just increases your healing ability on teammates only. Can be used alongside healing reach to keep your teammates topped up. Hitting level 7 unlocks card slot number 4, but you do not get another skill card until making another level. The next one is repair speed. As simple as it sounds, you can repair fortifications faster. If you take this card to help out with repairing, keep an eye on your energy as it will drain much faster with this card equipped. Upon hitting level 9 you will unlock your final card slot, able to equip 5 cards in total for this class, congratulations. And making another level on top of that will unlock your first purple skill card, Mind Control Expert. Enemies you use hijack on will have their total health increased, which is more useful than it sounds. You can get destroyed very quickly by taking over a weaker enemy like an Imago. This just helps to maximise your ultimate by keeping your target alive for longer. If we pair this with our next unlock as Jack, we have some amazing synergy with Explosive Hijack. When your hijacked target dies or the ultimate wears off, your target explodes, damaging any enemies around it. This is especially useful since you don't have to worry about losing control when you have a Grenadier or Scion fighting next to your team. I have used this myself simply to take over a priority target like a DR1 or Scion and instantly ending the ultimate early just to take that enemy off the field. It's a very impressive card. Epic Score Boost is up next. This is simply a higher rarity and value compared to the standard score boost. You can skip this. Hitting level 16 as Jack will unlock your first gold skill card for this class, Backstab. This extends how long you keep control of your hijacked target by a percentage amount, since each enemy has a different duration. Let's take a maxed out version of this card at 25%. Getting a kill with a Scion will give you an extra 5 seconds, but getting a kill with an Imago will give you almost 9 extra seconds of ultimate duration. However, if you take this card and use it on a Tracker, Popper or Bastion, these classes deal damage by self-destructing. This may get you a kill, but you will already be dead, so you will not benefit from this card. Keep that in mind. Our final purple skill card is up next, Sacrifice. This will revive nearby teammates if your hijacked target dies, even if it dies from the explosive hijack card. I haven't used this card much, as I find it easier just to run and pick up your teammates even as a hijacked enemy, but it could be useful for those times when Jack is the only one left alive. Personally, not a fan of this one, but I could see what the Coalition was doing when they introduced this card. Our very last skill card as Jack is unlocked at level 19, and this one is called Rampage. All damage you deal as a hijacked target will deal bleeding damage, which is deadly with some of the enemies you can take over. Ballistic weapons definitely benefit from this a lot more, but certain explosive weapons are also decent options. If you have the explosive hijack skill card on alongside this, the damage from that card will not cause bleeding damage, since the explosion happens after your ultimate ends. With all the skill cards out of the way, we're going to take a quick look at what perks Jack can use. Like all other classes in Gears 5, Jack has 4 different perks in Horde that can be leveled up by spending energy. The more energy you spend, the bigger the bonuses, and all perks cost 24,250 energy to max out. Jack has access to ultimate cooldown, which reduces your hijack's cooldown by 25 seconds per rank. Health regeneration, which just helps to restore you back to maximum health after taking damage. Repair cost, which can help you save some energy if you're helping with repairs. Lastly, you have max health, increasing Jack's maximum health by up to 50%. Those are the perks, and these are all the costs and values for those perks. If you need to pause the video once again to look through these, go ahead. Everything else has been covered. Now I've got some builds for you. There are 2 different ways to play Jack, supportive or offensive. The first build we have will look at being a supporting character, healing, repairing and generating energy. And the second build will focus on dealing as much damage as possible. Let's cover the first build, and this is the card setup I want to suggest. Optimizer is the basis and the most important card when taking a supportive role as Jack. The extra energy this provides helps your teammates build more fortifications, buy more perks, and buy any weapons they need from the Fabricator. After that, portable resupply is used simply to keep yourself cloaked whilst picking weapons and ammo up, and keeps you alive. Repair speed and healing upgrade are my 2 other recommendations because they allow you to heal and repair faster, since Jack already has a pretty decent range on these abilities in my opinion. Once again, you have an option slot to take up as your last card slot. Explosive Hijack is the only card I would recommend to improve your ultimate ability, because you can take over any enemy, and removing them from the fight, taking some extra enemies out with them. You will have to be a bit more careful with your hijack target if you want to get the full duration out of them, but prioritise bigger enemies like Scions and DR1s whilst using this build. Healing Reach is another option to extend the range on Jack's healing, to hopefully keep you safe at the same time. In terms of perks, I would recommend taking health and health regeneration first. Staying alive to support your team is crucial. I would say take repair costs third, especially if your engineer cannot keep up with repairs, and then finish with ultimate cooldown. Try to generate as much energy as possible while keeping your teammates and base alive. There's only a couple of classes that Jack can benefit from. The Combat Medic is useful to help generate some stim for you and revive you if you get yourself downed somewhere across the map. The Anchor is the only other class able to generate stim for Jack with their Harness Energy card. Time for the second build as Jack. This will revolve around your Hijack ultimate ability, taking over as many enemies as possible and taking out as many enemies whilst doing this. Here are your skill cards for this setup. Rampage is one of the best upgrades Jack has ever received for his ultimate, increasing your damage output dramatically. And pairing this extra damage with Backstab will keep you in control of your minion for much longer, sometimes going whole rounds for 1 to 2 minutes with the same enemy. Mind Control Expert will give your targeted enemy more health, helping with their survivability. Then Explosive Hijack will be used to instantly kill your target once you have finished with them, regardless of how much health they have. Zapper Upgrade is the last card I would recommend, as the extra damage will just help a small amount to get your ultimate ability back faster. I didn't really want to recommend other cards for this build, but Sacrificed could be used here instead of Zapper Upgrade if you would prefer to use that card. Your perk order this time would be Ultimate Cooldown. Since this is your main source of damage, you need this up as often as you can get it. Health and health regeneration next, just in case you do happen to take some damage unnecessarily. It can help you keep you in the fight. And repair cost can be skipped since you won't have the ability to repair fortifications most of the time whilst you are running this build. Other classes that benefit this build would be the Tactician with their Recharge Bounty skill card. This can just knock a little bit of extra time off your Hijack's cooldown if you happen to kill their marked target. A Combat Medic will also help to revive you or provide stim if you get into sticky situations. While leveling up Jack, you will probably play both of these builds naturally since you unlock almost all of the cards for the support build first, and the damage cards come in at higher levels for Jack, so make sure you try both of these out. There is one last thing to cover, well, technically two. Getting any class to level 20 rewards you with a heroic Venom skin for a weapon. Jack is a little different. Hitting level 20 with this class unlocks both the Hammerburst heroic Venom skin as well as the heroic Venom skin for Jack himself. I'll show you what these look like on screen as well. Jack has been one of the best additions for Horde mode in Gears 5. He brings a very unique playstyle to the game, but he does need some other customizability in my opinion. He is super effective, but also super squishy, so don't go trying to solo or swarmac as him. If you enjoyed this though, make sure you hit that like button and leave me a comment down below on what you think of Jack. And in the description box of this video, I am going to leave a link to a spreadsheet that I put together a long time ago, which contains all the information for all these classes with all their card values and perks, as well as some other stuff on fortifications and the forge itself. It's the main tool I've been using to bring you this full set of videos, and it's pretty much complete at this point. I am also going to upload a folder containing all of the still images of skill cards that I've used in all of these videos. This is because of this one comment here. I hope you don't mind me shouting you out. Jugi03 left me a comment on my Blade Master class guide asking about the skill cards. So I've compiled all of these into one little neat folder, and I will leave a link to these in the description box of the video if you want to use them. There is one final class I still need to cover though. The Architect will be my final Horde class guide coming out soon, so make sure you are subscribed to see when I upload that. But that's everything for this video. As always, Gears, have an awesome day, and I will see you next time.